Welcome to the world of horror. Tonight, we're going to do one complete playthrough in full narration. If you're in the comments and this is on Twitch, I apologize if I don't respond. City of Shiokawa, Japan, 1980X. Something strange is happening in our town. Robed figures can be seen gathering in the woods at night. People are going missing. Disgusting creatures are terrorizing the seaside. The rapid technological progress of the modern era brings comfort, but also new, unknown threats. Old gods, malicious, eldritch beings who ruled the earth eons ago are awakening as reality starts to crumble. Armed with clues, spells, and your dwindling sanity, you'll investigate mysteries across the city and in realms beyond. An old train slows down and stops at its last station. The end of the world is at hand, and you've finally arrived in the doomed town. Aiko. Takahashi, 18 years old, female, the swim team captain, barely surviving after a ghost of a drowned man kept her underwater. She is determined to solve this mystery. Hunted by the cult, you've managed to run from them once, but the cult is tireless. Old gods are awakening. Your only chance of survival is solving 5 different mysteries. End of the world is at hand. Somewhere, a group of people gathers, trying to awaken their master. The mad god favors astronomers and magicians, granting them its gift of power that unknowingly brings Ath Yolath's bloody body closer and closer to Earth. The missing stars. Media reports on various people with seemingly supernatural skills. Could it have any connection with the news about the stars disappearing from the night sky? At home, by the mailboxes, someone has crammed your mailbox full of animal entrails. They must know. We're going out, we're going to need some money. And an appropriate outfit. Let's get some experience. Beautiful city. Inexplicable and morbid events are plaguing your town for some time now. You've marked down 5 of them, hoping that there is something connecting them. Before us, far-out fable of a fear festival, vicious verses of a violence at vigil, freaky feature of found footage, spine-chilling story of school scissors, eerie episode of evolving eels. We begin with our first story, the eerie episode of Evolving Eels. Eerie episode of Evolving Eels. While returning to your home, someone suddenly bumps into you. Did you know? You turn around. It's your friend living in the same apartment complex. Kana. That weird dude is back. You know, the one who studies fish. You shrug, opening the door. Kana follows and immediately enters the kitchen. A while later, she returns with 2 cans of soda. Aren't you curious? What weird fish did he bring this time? She grins. Will you check it out for me? You will surely recognize me if I try to do it myself. First, we need a weapon. We've got a carpenter's hammer. If we investigate the seaside first, though, maybe we can strengthen our ichthyology. The military exercise makes you feel safer. But are guns enough to stop the unspeakable horrors lurking out there? Walking on the beach, you discover a giant charred pit. As you wonder what was burned here and why, you hear a crackling sound getting louder, and everything around you is getting hotter. Burning Man. We've defeated the Burning Man after hammering him away. And when he falls, there's something on the ground. Corpse dust. It shimmers in your hand. Now we decide to go to the apartments. The lobby first. You find an envelope lying on a pillow in your bedroom. Inside is cash and a note from someone who has been watching you. They wish you luck in your task and promise to meet you soon. Just how did this envelope end up in your bedroom? At the school, in the library, our master is coming, and we'll bask in its glory. A glitched magician appears. After meeting the front of our carpenter's hammer several times, he dies. The neighbor's office at school was empty. He did find a few jars, all filled with weird eel-like fish. Despite your protests, Kana decides to take one jar home. Kana says, "Have you ever seen an eel like this? It's so freaky. Don't you have a feeling it's watching us?" You wonder how she can sip her soda so calmly, staring at this creepy creature. Investigating the lobby of the apartment building again, we find an unfinished painting. While looking around the ransacked room of your recently deceased friend, you discover a half-finished painting of a woman, her skin a ghastly pale yellow color. The scene is disturbing. Struggle to look at it. Intimidated by the unsettling painting, you're haunted by nightmares. Kana talks about someone that's been burning some notes behind the apartment building. Wants to check it out. You wonder, is this eel even alive? We go out by the staircase and we encounter nothing, but at the bottom, our phone rings. We pick up. "Excuse me, do you have a moment to talk about our eel Lord and Savior?" The day of reckoning is coming, says the voice on the other side of the line. You definitely don't like the way the man on the other side of the line puts an accent on real. Hello? Are you still there? We decide to listen further and learn some useful bits of information about our nemesis. However, if everything he said was the truth, humanity is doomed. Kana was right. Someone tried to burn some papers. They must have been in a hurry because some of the papers look salvageable. You both return to your apartment and try and decipher the notes. Kana says, that's so weird. Your neighbor really was into eels, it seems. You begin to wonder if spying on your neighbor was a good idea to begin with. And you look at the burnt notes. You can make out a little bit written on the notes. Something, legend from it looks like a 4-letter word, all blurred out. Prefecture. Eels tell of a small village, part of the word being smudged, of robbers would K-I smudge L, kill, probably, all village visitors and dump their corpses into a lake full of eels. So these eels would then eat those visitors. We decide to investigate our neighbor's apartment, and we climb up the fire escape. At the top, wandering through the empty corridor that's there, you find an old vending machine. You don't recognize the brands of sodas inside, but you really could use a drink. We have a lot of money on hand, so we decide to get the most expensive one. It tastes a little odd, but you enjoy the drink anyway. Kana says must be something more we can learn. I'll try and break into his apartment tomorrow morning. I wonder what he's hiding in there. You shrug non-committedly. You just wish you could throw this damn jar in the trash. First, we investigate the cliff. You decide to enter a small shitty bar in the docks. Maybe some old fisherman can help you in your quest. However, persuading them to do so might prove difficult. We try talking to them with our 7 in perception and 6 in charisma. Charisma check failure. We take 2 stamina damage. Thinking about how stupid it is of Kana to try and break into your neighbor's apartment, you go to sleep. You spend the entire day waiting for Kana. Where the hell is he? You decide to go to the school. At some point, you enter the library. Then you enter the art classroom. The room is cluttered with half-finished sculptures and bizarre masks hanging on the wall. One sculpture strikes you as eerily realistic. You wonder what you want to do, check out the sculpture or check out the masks. We decide to check out the sculpture. The head of the one sculpture looks so lifelike. You move closer and raise your hand nervously to touch it. And it falls off, and we prepare ourselves for combat. A headless person stumbles out of your sculpting classroom and it's reaching for your head. Headless mannequin. We swing our hammer 3 times, hitting the enemy all 3 times. Just a little bit more, you think. And we defeat the headless mannequin. Now we can enter the neighbor's apartment. Kana's been missing since yesterday, so we decide to check it out. In the kitchen, you cautiously enter. The kitchen. You were shocked to see countless jars filled with eels flailing around restlessly. Where the hell is Kana? We checked the bathroom. Inside the bathroom, a swollen body of your neighbor is rotting away in the bathtub. Putrid, murky water. Both his eyes are missing, with countless tiny blood trails leading from them in all directions. Our heart pounding, we decide to check the bedroom. And Kana is there. I found the neighbor, but when his eyes bursted, I slipped on the blood and lost consciousness. I'm afraid there's something in his own eye now, too. Well, it sounds like the eye thing is lethal if not treated. We can either go to the hospital or puncture her eye. We decide to puncture her eye at the cost of 3 reasons. We have to push it through her eye. It's the only way to save her. And stab, it explodes. Blood spraying out like a tiny fountain, all of a sudden black eels. Shocked, you see countless tiny eels crawling out of your friend's eye in all directions. Will she even survive the blood loss? Ophthalmology department of the hospital. You rush to the hospital with Kana, getting a lot of attention from horrified people. Your friend is taken immediately to the operating theater, and you collapse in a chair in the waiting area. You fall asleep. Wake up, dude. You've been sleeping for over 3 hours. You groggily open your eyes to see your friend Kana. She's wearing an eye patch. Not so pretty anymore. I couldn't exactly tell the doctors the truth about what happened, and I'm pretty sure I won't be winking with my left eye anytime soon. But thank you for saving my life. Kana also says, is it me or did it suddenly get colder? You still process the events of the previous night. Corpse-eating eels that lay their eggs in their eyes. Sitting with your friend Kana before your apartment building, you watch the police officers emptying your neighbor's place. The old gods stir. There's something wrong with the tap water. It is black and oily and glistening, smelling like death. You hope it's just a temporary issue. We enter our house. Inside your mailbox, you find a small key. What is it doing in here? Can't take a bath because of the issues with the tap water. We decide to choose a mystery to investigate. Remaining far out fable of Fear Festival, vicious verses of a violent vigil, freaky feature of found footage, spine-chilling story of school scissors. We decide to investigate the vicious verses of a violent vigil. You've received an official-looking letter. What does a law firm from Tokyo want with you? We regret to inform you of the passing of a client and your granduncle. His funeral will be preceded by an overnight vigil, as per the client's request. There's an address and a list of people expected to arrive. You don't recognize any of the names. Intrigued, you decide to check it out yourself. What's the worst thing that could happen? Arrival at the mansion. Following the directions from the letter, you slowly fight your way through the overgrown forest path. An old mansion looks like it was torn down and rebuilt many times, but where is everybody? We decide to explore the mansion. You get a bad feeling. Despite your best efforts, You feel like the neighborhood is starting to change. You're in the dilapidated corridor. It takes you some time, but you finally manage to find someone. Is that another guest? You should ask them what's going on here. We explore. And we talk to the shadowy figure. Young woman wrinkles her nose when she notices you. You can swear you've seen a symbol engraved on your necklace before. If you want to pay respects to that old creep, follow that corridor to the right. Overgrown garden. Dark forces scheme against you. You don't know who can trust anymore. We go immediately to the master bedroom, pressing a handkerchief against your nose. You enter the dark room. There's no way they allowed your granduncle to just lie here. What was the correct bow and clap order? Maybe other guests will know. Go back to the dilapidated corridor and you speak with someone. You notice another family member has arrived. Sotomura, scarred thug, a muscular man is eyeing you. As you take a step towards him, you can't help but notice the deep scar across his cheek. This pamphlet? Take mine. I don't plan on following it anyway. You open the vigil pamphlet. We would like to thank you on behalf of our client for participating in this vigil on such short notice. He was a spiritual person and left instructions we are asking you to follow closely. 9 p.m., start of the vigil. 10 p.m., pray over the body. Bow, bow, clap, clap. 11, modest stopper. 12 p.m., pray over the body. Clap, clap, clap. 1 a.m., dot, dot, dot. 2 a.m., feed the plant in the study with blood. Cover the mirror at 3 a.m. in the storage room. 4 a.m., dot, dot, dot. 5, end of vigil. What time is it now? We wonder. We look. But we forgot our watch. So, bow, clap, clap. It's 10 p.m. Bow, bow, clap, clap. Oh, there's 4. Bow, bow, clap, clap. You think you got the order right. Vigil pamphlet. Next it says, a modest supper at 11 p.m. But first, we see there's something on our uncle's foot. We inspect the foot. Copy the symbol that appears on his foot into the pamphlet, making sure we have it. We decided to go back to the dilapidated corridor and investigate, noting that the next time the time changes is going to be 2 a.m. feeding the plant. No, supper at 11 p.m. Then, at 12, we're going to pray again, all 4 claps. No time for it. It's 12, and the pamphlet wants us to do some more praying, 4 claps. but our uncle is no longer there. The body, it's missing. "2 a.m. study, plant blood." Find a flashlight. There's nothing really important here, but you think you might be able to use the one item you do find. We equip it. It's 2 a.m. We have to go to the study to feed the plant with blood. It seems that someone has already removed all the furniture from this room. The overgrown plant is casting an unsettling shadow. You cut your hand and pour some blood on the soil. Hopefully that's enough. We remember at 3 a.m. we have to go to the storage room. We explore, deciding we'll be back by 3. The investigation is taking a toll on you. You start to miss the most obvious leads. It's now 3 a.m. The other guest is now safe with you. The whole building cracks and moves. You're scared of what comes next. We decide to check the wardrobe and found a meat cleaver. There's no way to cover the mirror though. We decide to talk to the people. The young woman wrinkles her nose when she notices you. You can swear you've seen the symbol engraved somewhere, but it's not the one that was on your uncle's foot. We explore the house again. Hearing a shuffling sound coming from behind the wardrobe, you decide to push it out of the way. You discover a wall. Nice in the wall. Someone has put 3 dusty dolls in there. When you try to reach and grab one, however, they jump off and scatter around the room, giggling. Puppet matron. We swing our carpenter's hammer, hitting her 3 times in the face. 2 more times, and the carpenter hammer renders her moot. As the vigil is nearing its end, the whole mansion shakes more and more until the walls start to collapse, revealing the shocking truth about your whereabouts. Walls of the corridor, revealing an alien landscape. You can taste blood in your mouth as the slimy appendages slowly get closer. A voice in your head tells you what to do. Sacrifice the guest or carve the cursed symbol. We decide to carve the symbol. The bloated corpse of your uncle slowly floats into the room as the remaining walls collapse. The contract is not over yet. Your uncle, bleeding from the eyes, multiple pupils in each eye instead of one, and the symbol, a different symbol, carved freshly into his forehead. We swing our carpenter's hammer, hitting him twice. And we hit him 2 more times. 3 more hits, and we take out the horrible old man with the carpenter hammer. Death cheated, no price is paid. A voice booms in your head as everything gets dark. When you wake up, you find yourself lying on the wet grass. The old mansion, nowhere to be seen. Standing next to you is a naked, bloated old man. You recognize a tattoo on the man's toe. It's your deceased granduncle. With a coarse voice, he explains the ritual. You try to keep up with him, but you're weak and your head spins. The death toll must remain the same. Two die, and two survive. You feel like vomiting as the old man who has cheated death disappears behind the trees. Everything gets dark. You and the other family members finally exit the forest and leave the nightmare of it behind. One thing is certain though, you will never open letters from the law firms in Tokyo again. The old god stirs. A friendly dog has disappeared last night. You will have to find a new place to buy equipment. We now have 2 of the lighthouse keys and decide that we have to keep moving forward. Found footage, scissors, or fear festival. We decide to go with the freaky found footage. 3 students disappeared in the process of making a documentary about local folklore and legends of the nearby forests. Now, on the first anniversary of the event, a suspicious man has started asking questions. He claims to be a private investigator hired by the parents of the students. Except the parents of your friends didn't hire him. Who is he, and what did the students discover out there? 3 students disappeared in the process of making a documentary about local folklore. Maybe you'll find a clue about their last known whereabouts. We decide we want to rest a bit at home. It certainly feels good to be back home. You swallow the painkillers, you sit on a couch and read your favorite book. Time flies so fast, you prepare yourself to leave and continue your long investigation. We decide we don't need to rest again for now, but we do want to check out the hardware store and buy a can of acid. It has a secondary use of dealing 6 damage to eldritch enemies. We may be able to find more information about a witch story by investigating the mansion twice. We decide to. There's a local legend about a heartbroken seamstress. One stormy night, she broke into a local inn and stitched the unsuspecting guests together. Her final gruesome artwork. But that's just a legend, right? We can look at the sewing machine or rifle through the cupboard. We decide to look through the cupboard. Inside the cupboard, you find a sewing kit and decide to leave the room before any legends spring to life. A trinket. Inspecting it, shouldn't you ask a doctor to do it? We decide to put the meat cleaver back in our inventory. We only need to investigate the mansion one more time. It looks like one of the previous owners of the mansion liked to read. Dusty tomes reach the ceiling. You don't have much time, but maybe you could spare some to look through the books. You decide to start with the shelves. The books are covered with a thick layer of dust. They seem rare, but cover mundane topics such as botany and anatomy. The legends say that a witch was buried alive for kidnapping and murdering 2 children. It points you in a specific direction, potentially saving you some time. We decide to investigate the school. There's a hallway door half open. It shouldn't even be there. It shouldn't lead anywhere. More importantly, it shouldn't be pulling you in. You decide to enter anyway. Slowly, you enter the unknown. Where are you? Lost in time and space, you drift in nothingness until something pulls you towards the light. Boreal expanse. The temperature abruptly drops, and you shudder in the icy cold. You find yourself in the middle of a snowy wasteland. A sudden gust flings you to your knees. You inhale deeply, feeling your chest tighten and ache. Your fingers and ears are already numb and freezing. You have to move. You decide to move towards the pyramid. And you fail your strength check. The frozen guard corpses watch you silently as you cut yourself on the razor-sharp edges of the ice. You're injured with frostbite. You also have a torn muscle, and apparently a stalker. We decide to go to the hospital to heal our injuries. We're able to level up. Art knowledge, leadership, hot bath. Unfortunately, our bathwater is tainted. We decided to invest in charisma and knowledge. Before we go any further, we're going to go to the schoolyard and see if anyone wants to help. Kohaku, staring at the clouds. They look like heads. They look fine. You wonder what the latest gossip is. Yesterday, she told me she saw it again. We asked him to join us. He tells us to give him a break. We decide to pester him. He finally decides to join us. If what you're saying is true, we have no time to leave. He wasn't the same since he came back. Kyrie is taking his pen apart and putting it back together. They seem relaxed. We've spent all our experience. Instead, we decide to threaten him. Gaining nothing but doom. Exhausted. The investigation is starting to take a toll on your health. You feel like you're about to fall asleep standing up. How do you address your weakened state? Unfortunately, we don't have the ability to take a hot bath, so we decide to jog. However, we fail, stumble over, and take a damage. Our stamina has been reduced by 1. We decide to head to the village. Everyone in the village is unsettlingly friendly. An old farmer points you to an old stone. The missing group supposedly started their forest trip here. Since we're out of funds, a mysterious man decides to show up. "It's a bad time to be out of cash," says the grim-looking man who's standing in your way. "Our company, fortunately, specializes in cases like yours and will gladly help you back on track. After all," he takes a step closer and you can swear there's a faint smell of rust around the man, "everyone has something to sell." You can pay him with a jar of blood, your fondest memory, or peace of mind. You decide to pay him with your peace of mind, and your doom increases by 5%. The man smiles, handing you an envelope. You feel like you've made a huge mistake. In the envelope are 2 additional funds. You now, looking back one last time, you continue deeper into the woods. You decide to enter a random location. You discover an old campsite located on the edge of a small clearing. The tent has been knocked down, and the food and utensils have been scattered everywhere. We can either search the tent, investigate the ground for clues, or ignore. We decide to investigate the ground. Did wolves learn how to walk on their legs? Perception check failure. You investigate further. Site of the ritual. The rumored witch house seems empty. In the basement, however, you find a camera pointed at a large hole in the ground. On the table next to the camera, you see 3 cassettes, each titled after one of the missing friends. Then you hear a curious sound coming from the hole. You decide to peek inside. You kneel down and lean forward to see what's inside the hole. It takes a while to process what you are looking at. It's a gigantic eye staring right at you. Hypnotized, you continue to lean in, feeling weaker and weaker as the gargantuan beast lures you in. You're close to losing consciousness, but then you remember you picked up a can of acid. You decide to pour the acid inside. You open the can of acid and empty its contents in the well. The house's foundation shakes as the massive creature's eye burns. Walls begin to collapse as you pass out from the toxic fumes. You wake up later with the cassettes in your trembling hand. The witch's house is nowhere to be seen. The old god stirs. A weird epidemic keeps staff at the hospital busy. Skipping the line will cost you more. You go home, and in your mailbox you find another small key. You replace that. The forest tapes, you have them, seemingly broken, but maybe you can somehow find a way to repair them. Who could help you with that? You decide to start a new mystery. Only 2 remaining, scissors or a fear festival. We go with the festival. Far out fable of a fear festival. Your aunt had sent you for a letter, or had sent you a letter inviting you for a curious sounding festival. It's held every 27 years in a small village. You don't like the sound of it, but your parents both agree you need a break from all the stress. Inside the letter, there's a bus ticket. What's the worst thing that could happen? You ask yourself as you board the bus. We decide to investigate. Today's goal, explore the weird village. Just when you thought your stomach couldn't handle it anymore, the janky old bus stops at its destination. You get up and take a deep breath before looking around. It's a small village and the nearby fields are surrounded by a thick forest. Someone is waiting for me. Just then, a fat man wearing dusty overalls approaches you. It's the inn owner, who promised to pick you up. Following close behind him, your eyes are drawn to his hands, which are so deformed they resemble claws more than hands. Your group has arrived in the village and is currently unpacking at the inn, giving you some time to explore. The festival begins that evening. We decide to go to the inn. Inn's room is dusty, like it hasn't seen any visitors in years. You wonder if anyone cleaned it since the last festival 27 years ago. There's a folder of available activities lying on the table. We decide to head on some hot spring. Feels great. Finally relax a bit and can enjoy the warm water. We decide to skip time and visit the inn and relax. A weird sound wakes you up. You step closer to the window and look out. You can't see anything and get ready to go back to bed when suddenly the moon comes from behind the thick clouds. 3 hooded figures are standing at the forest edge. One by one, they light their torches and disappear behind the trees. What was that about? You decide to explore the village. Walking through the village, you're suddenly pulled behind a building. 2 menacing, masked figures block your escape. Do you serve the old ones? You answer, yes. We knew it. The prophecies were true. The masked figures relax a bit, taking off their masks. We apologize for this, mister. And then they join you. One person, Fujiko. Your kick action deals additional damage with her around. Speaking to her, she shivers. I don't like the way the villagers look at us. Masafumi is the other person that's joined your party. He's a ghost hunter, and he does 1 additional damage against ghost enemies. Speaking to you, And walking closer, he states, "Should we be wearing masks?" Looks like everyone is. We decide to enjoy the festival and buy some souvenirs. We pick up the holy candles, or the prayer beads. We go back to the festival, decide to look for friends. You stumble into your friend, Dog. "I need to move some stuff, can you help?" Dog asks you. You help your friend. Going back to the inn, you overhear two masked villagers. They are talking about something awakening up at the next dawn. You wonder what's up with that. You decide to continue. You go back to the village. Walking through the crowded space, someone bumps into you and quickly apologizes. You realize what's happening. They stole your wallet, quickly grab their arm, and they drop it before it disappearing in the crowd. You gain 5 experience. You go back to the festival and decide to enjoy it. There's still some time before the festival starts. The locals are seemingly busy, setting up the stands and decorating the place. A few stands are already open, but you can't shake off the feeling that something is wrong. It's getting late. You enjoy the festival. You break into a cold sweat when you see the street's vendors. Twisted grimace. You back off, wishing it was only a mask. Why is it so quiet all of a sudden? You explore the festival. Where is everybody? Trails of blood and sickly smelling sludge leads to the outskirts of the village. Somewhere in the dark forest, there's an answer waiting for you. Blood trails lead deeper into the forest. What exactly happened, and where are all the people? You explore the forest. Hearing some rustling behind a bush, you decide to hide behind a tree. There you spot 3 men, each armed with a rifle. They are obviously looking for something or someone. You reveal yourself. When the men see you, they quickly raise and lower their guns. "Hey there," says the hunter. "This forest is not safe at this hour. What are you doing here?" You try to ask about the dagger, but they just hand you a flashlight and point you to the nearest road. Something tells you shouldn't get on their nerves and go. You decide to equip the flashlight. But you already have one. So you sell it. You follow the faint sound to a telephone line pole. The moment you notice giant hairy balls underneath it, they start to twitch and rise. Totoro, a monster. The hairy bald monster. We defeat it. After smashing it with the carpenter's hammer, we explore the forest more. You find a rock. It said a famous priest died on this rock. Perhaps his mysticism has seeped into it. We tap into the power, but fail, and gain 2% doom. You feel like you've attracted the attention of something terrible. Stargazing, your friend has asked you to meet them at a certain secluded location. Getting there, you find a telescope with a note signed by your friend. Note tells you to look through the telescope. We look through. You don't see anything at first. Then you notice it. The bloated body of Ath-Yalutz is getting closer. We find a factory. May 31st, 1984. The sun is slowly rising as you get closer to the abandoned industrial building. Cautiously entering the factory, you can't help but notice the forest got totally silent. It's too late. You were not the only one trying to stop the ritual and save your friends. Special forces have raided the cult hideout, arresting the suspects. Led outside, the handcuffed cult leader suddenly stops. You are too late, they say in a raspy voice. Our Lord is free once more. Later that day, after an interrogation, detectives let you go free. Festival guests are still missing to this day. You board the old bus, wondering exactly what happened out there. The old gods stir. Dangerous bands of riders are gathering around the downtown area. Police are helpless. You go home, and you take another key that was in your mailbox and put it in storage, knowing that you can't take a bath. You look out the window one last time before you decide to do the next mission. The final mission, spine-chilling story of school scissors. Spine-chilling story of school scissors, May 31st, 1984. Another boy from your school has disappeared. Rumor has it a terrible woman has returned from the grave, a woman with the widest smile and the sharpest scissors. You know your friend was up to something when he left you his notebook full of cryptic notes. I can send her back to where she belongs, he claimed. After he disappeared, too, you decided to study the notebook for clues. It detailed a ritual that can stop the wicked woman once and for all. What's the worst that could happen? You check your storage and find no notebook, even though one should be there. Your missing friend has left you a notebook. If the rumors are true, to stop the tall woman with scissors, you'll need to perform a ritual to force her material form to disappear, or to appear in our dimension. Accomplishing this first requires the drawing of an eldritch sigil and then lighting of holy candles. You can only hope your friend has left them somewhere around the school. Suddenly, everything slows to a crawl, and a time warper appears. We destroy him with a carpenter's hammer. Decide to check to see if our friend's notes are in there. And they don't appear anywhere. We explore the school. You enter the school bathroom to wash your face with cold water. A sudden noise behind you stops you in your tracks. One of the stall doors has opened on its own. You decide to close the door. You walk to the door and try and close it, but something is blocking it. When you look up, you see a ghostly, pale hand holding the door. You back off from the toilet as that door slowly opens. A girl in a tattered uniform is standing there. Her head twists unnaturally as she makes a roaring, rattling noise. The door behind me slams shut. The toilet ghost. Something falls to the ground. Corpse dust. You already had some of that. You found an additional page from your friend's diary. It seems like the blessed chalk was left in the pool. You must hurry and find it. You decide to peek outside. Something evil stalks the empty school corridors. You found an additional page from your friend's diary. It seems that the blessed chalk was left on the roof. You must hurry and find it. Something's behind the door. Something's wrong. Instead of a clear blue sky, you see the bloated corpse of a long-forgotten deity looming over the school's roof. The barrier between worlds is coming apart. You must hurry or risk being noticed by whatever other eldritch horrors are here. We decide to try and sneak. You succeed in grabbing the backpack and returning to the staircase leading back to your own world. We decide to explore some more. Hearing an eerie sound coming from behind the door, you decide to check it out. At first glance, the abandoned classroom was empty. Once your eyes get used to the darkness, you discover an unusual sigil drawn on the floor. Judging by the smoke, someone put out the candles the moment you entered. We decide to light the candles. The moment you light the remaining candle, the ground under the sigil collapses, revealing an impossibly deep hole. Its walls are carved into spiral shape, giving it the illusion of movement. Sound of scissors getting closer. You must hurry. Substitute teacher, tall woman with an unsettling face and twitching lips, stops you. I'll be your new biology teacher. Could you help me move some stuff to my new office? We decide to decline. She suddenly insists and grabs your hand. We decide to enter the option ooh, which is impossible. Creepy substitute teacher hands you some old books to carry. Among the mundane titles, you find one called Extinction of Mankind. You shudder, feeling the teacher's gaze on the back of your neck. We found both the blessed candles and the holy chalk. However, our friend's diary was never anywhere to be found. We go in deciding we'll do it without the ritual complete. Prepare for combat. The sigil and holy candles don't seem to have any effect on the horrible monster. Had you drawn it wrong? Frozen in fear, you watch as the twitching horror gets closer and closer. It raises its enormous scissors and croaks. Twisting and twitching, the demon woman enters the classroom, cackling menacingly. Am I beautiful? Smashing it with our contractor's hammer multiple times did the trick. It leaves cursed scissors on the ground. Scissor Woman is gone for good, or is it? You shudder knowing the urban legend will inspire another kid in another city to try and summon the eldritch being. The old god stirs. The whole town stopped receiving any outside signal. It must be the radio mass failure. We have all the lighthouse keys. And our friend's diary was back at home. We go to the lighthouse. The ominous lighthouse has been closed down for longer than you can remember. And unlock 4 of the padlocks. We go back to retrieve the remaining key. Decide to bring our sewing kit and corpse dust. just in case they come in handy, and head back to the lighthouse with the final key. You use the key to open the last padlock, and we enter the lighthouse. In on the ground floor, you finally made it inside the cursed lighthouse. Your gut is telling you two things: that whoever or whatever is behind the weird events must be on the highest floor of this place, and that you should run as far as you can. You're afraid there won't be a way back once you start climbing these stairs. Your doom is at 58%, so you decide to rest quite a bit. You maximize your stats, and then you proceed, climbing the stairs. Following the winding staircase, you were stopped. Wait a minute. Someone broke into your apartment, stole all the clues and newspaper clippings, and pinned them here. The more you study them, the more you discover you can't remember any of them except for one. It is the name of the second mystery investigated. It was the verses of the violent vigil. You remember. You rip the newspaper clipping of a case you seem to remember. Underneath it is a tiny button. When you press it, it opens with a buzz, and you gain 10 experience points. You were stopped by a girl wearing a dirty black school uniform. "I am sorry, but I can't let you go any further," she says, reaching for a bag. "It's too late anyway." You instinctively take a step back when you notice a knife in her hand. You have to think fast. You try and reason with her, but your charisma apparently isn't high enough. You try to talk her into allowing you pass, but suddenly she raises the knife and slices right across her own throat, nearly decapitating herself. You carefully step over her body, knowing you just lost 2 reason. Following the winding staircase, you will appear before the trial of blood. You find a metal gate that blocks your way. It's locked, but you notice an electrical cable. It seems to connect the door to a hole inside the central pillar. If there's a switch inside, you'll have to risk getting caught by numerous glass shards and knives. You try and find a switch, and you manage to locate the door, which is a switch, while avoiding knives and glass shards. With a buzz, the gate opens. You climb further. Following the winding staircase, you find a metal gate that blocks your way. A cable that should be powering it is currently disconnected. The power box itself is covered with a weird, moist goo. Just inhaling the fumes makes your eyes itch and water. But to power the gate, you'll need to disconnect a faulty plug. Disconnect the faulty plug. You don't have enough strength. You're surprised by how much effort it takes to disconnect the faulty plug. As you force it, the weird goo burns your fingers. Finally, you manage to separate the faulty plug and connect the proper cable. With a buzz, the gate opens, and you climb further. Climbing up the winding staircase, you were stopped by a masked man wearing an expensive suit. "The rules have changed, kiddo," he says, taking the jacket and mask off. "Nothing personal, really. It's Takashi-san, out of nowhere." Well, you're ready to hit him with the new scissors that you got. You're able to defeat Takashi-san. The dark clouds swirl around the lighthouse. Did you arrive too late? You click, and it disappears. As the unnatural fog slowly lifts, you are relieved and collapse on the floor. The next day, everything feels like a bad dream. You manage to stop the ritual awakening the eldritch old god, but what's done is done. It will stir and slumber again and again until the stars are right again. Congratulations, you are safe for now. Okay, well, that's the end. Sneaky, thank you for subscribing. I didn't say that earlier. Does your character have a name? So yes, the characters have names. When you do a story, you can choose customize. I think that's the best option. We've unlocked a couple new events through here that we have enabled. There's also one up here. Continue onto your new seed, and you get to pick a character after you go through everything. So I'll show you a quick playthrough. No, but I was playing as Aiko. But there's also Haru, Yakuza driver, or Mizuki. Haru is the Yakuza driver. You got Mizuki, she's in Teen Idol. You got Kuji, he's a photographer. You got Mimi, she's a medical student. You got Kiri, she's a transfer student. They each have their own perks, different stat bonuses. So she's nice, Aiko, because she starts with combat speed bonus. That means you can attack more times. Up here is where you choose the different backgrounds. So you could do World of Horror, that's what standard. Then you unlock medical history, hunted by the cult. They each have different effects. Like this one reduces doom, but you get more unique combat encounters. Seventh Curse, you start playthrough with more funds. This is what I just unlocked, but can't have any allies. Family is cursed. Standard one, no effect. This one you start with extra experience, manages, but each injury can cause damage, can cause an injury. We still have 4 left to unlock. So you pick one, say Aiko, then you can choose difficulty. I play on Initiate. I haven't tried the other ones. And then you get to choose your mode. Scenario mode, that's not out yet, and endless mode. There's no mysteries to solve. You just have a ton of encounters that you go through and investigate to see what there is. I like classic mode. Then here you choose your god. Spider god, you can't escape from combat. I like that one because I never escape anyway. Got Devouring Eye, combat stamina penalties are doubled. This is the one I've been picking. Casting spells cost reason but increases doom. I don't cast spells. Mere Horror increases doom penalty. So you pick the spider. Now some of the counters are going to be modified by that. So turn the web, just as an example. And then you can go to city history. You unlock this later. And you can choose like having a cult shop. So you have to get rid of one because there's only 2. And it looks like each place has the space for multiple. I don't know how many there actually are. So if we get rid of the police station, which reduces random encounters, you can add that, or vice versa. Lighthouse, your goal is to do 5 mysteries, and each time you complete a scenario, it gives you a key. At home, every time you complete a scenario, there'll be a key in the mailbox. This I haven't figured out yet, the phone, but I did take down the number. I tried it, I don't know if it does anything. 48746553737. But I don't know how to dial afterwards, because these buttons don't do anything. I don't know. TV will have different things. It says bedroom. When you start, you can choose one of 4 options. Always choose an experience boost because your max stamina and reason starting out anyway. You can choose an outfit. I don't know if they have any effects on gameplay. You unlock them, and then up here you can get an extra fun by clicking on that figurine. You've got a socket here, a light switch that does nothing, a shutter, and this you can open. I haven't found anything else there. You can access your storage, which you start out with nothing. Then you go to the room, and you have to pick the 5 mysteries. I recommend picking something with a town first, that way you can get a weapon. It's randomized from the stories. So, Contagious Coma we didn't have last time. Crimson Cape, I don't think we had last time. Fear Festival we did. Endings discovered 1 of 2. That means I still have another ending I haven't figured out how to get. Vicious Verses, I've discovered 2 of 3 endings. New Dawn, Death Cheated. Horrible History, I've discovered 2 out of 3 endings. So you go in, you can discover new ones, and then you kind of go through. It's going to have that for investigating. Someone's waiting, continue. So I went to this one first. Here there's a few different options you can do, but I'm still working on this one. Q to quit out. And then right here, I'll just show you the extra. So extra is achievements. Achievements are what you unlock as you do it. So once you unlock 20 achievements, for example, you unlock the option to add the occult shop or city history, which was before. When you use a backstory and beat the game, you unlock a new one through an achievement. So right here, inherit his backstory. Frail. When your fourth playthrough, unlocks extended cards. This unlocked the extended mode. This unlocks an item you can find in the game, spells you can find, allies you can have, more items, allies, and a bunch of different things. And then events. So I've found 78% of the events in the game. There's still 22 left. Bestiary, I've found 60% of the enemies in the game. Pantheon, I have no idea. You can change these. I don't know what effect any of it does. Event editor, I guess, for when you have your mods, and then you can reset your progress if you want to start from the beginning again. Options are fairly straightforward. You can skip the intro if you click that. There we go. You can also play it like this on the screen. Another thing is that you can change the color. So you got 1-bit, which is just one gradient of color. But if you do 2-bit, it's got it's got a couple different colors that you can add. I think it's probably 3, or maybe it's just 2. And then you can change the 2 colors that are there. Like this one. Oh, there's some I haven't seen before. That's pretty cool. That's all. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm going to end the stream here. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Have a good night. Take it easy, Sneaky. I hope you like that.